Hey guys, Steven Martinez with The American Dream. I just want to say a big thanks to all our supporters and fans. It's because of you guys that we're able to keep growing. Having said that, please don't forget to follow and subscribe. It means a lot to us. That's what helps us keep growing. And also, I hope you guys enjoy the next episode. Hey guys, welcome back to The American Dream podcast, here with a very, very special guest, Shaun Clark, co-founder of Go High Level.
Hey,
thank you, brother, for coming, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
It's a big deal, actually. So in the event space, like, we all know each other, so all like the big events, and Go High Level is like, whoa, like if you guys are able to partner with Go High, it's a big deal for people in events.
Thanks.
So I really appreciate you believing in what we're doing with the American Dream event, the mission statement behind it. So super excited for this potential and mutual beneficial partnership that's going to really change a lot of people's health. Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
So regarding, I know we were speaking before in the kitchen, and kind of talking a little bit about Go High Level, like the story behind that. So for people, first off, for people that don't know Shaun, who's Shaun?
I'm just the co-founder of High Level. Nothing too special there.
How was the story? Because you were talking to me when you were younger. You were always an entrepreneur, always doing that. Tell me a little bit about that.
So single mom, only child. She's a mechanical engineer. And always really was inspired by that because it was a very difficult thing, I think, for a female to do. But early on, I watched her get laid off with when the economy would go down, and I sort of thought, well, that kind of sucks, right? Like, if you're supposed to go to college and get a degree and you do all these things and you can still be laid off, like, how do I fix that, or how do I get around that? And somehow I got onto this idea that entrepreneurship was at least a way that you had a little bit more control potentially of your ups and downs. And so that's kind of what led me down that journey. And of course, I had no one in my family who was an entrepreneur at the time. And so it was like, so I had to sort of figure it all out on my own. So it was just a lot of, stumbles and falls and, falling forward every time a little bit. And, just became an entrepreneur early on. Started with, like everybody, probably as a consultant I'm a super nerdy software dude. So I started doing like website consulting way back in the day, and then that led to software and all kinds of other things. So yeah, that's kind of my background.
And you grew up in Oregon as well?
Oregon, yep.
Okay, and single?
But me?
Yeah.
Like,
or do you have siblings? Or?
No, just nope, only child. I have like a stepbrother, something that I've seen a couple of times, but only child, basically.
And so I know when you were telling me how you were creating at the beginning the consulting stuff to help do web design, correct, essentially.
Yeah.
And as you started to move forward, we talked about a little bit the first company that you really kind of created. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, actually, the first company I created was an answering service of all things.
Okay.
I worked 12 years on that and built it with a co-founder. From zero to about a $30 million enterprise. So that was kind of my actual first big business. But I learned very early on I learned in that business what minority owner means. So long term, that one didn't work out despite how big it got, but turned out to be a great thing because then it really allowed me to go do what I wanted to do, which is start a software company. So I started a software company. It was like an add-on to QuickBooks or Xero, and it helped people basically collect money that was passed due on invoices and automated that process for them, and basically helped a lot of small businesses. I didn't know this. In fact, I had some friends who were accountants, and they actually kind of clued me in on this idea. But they sort of said one of the biggest issues they had with their clients is they would go out of business, not because they didn't do a good job, but because they couldn't collect on their invoices. And when I looked into it, it wasn't that their customers didn't have the money and all this. It was literally just the fact that no one was like reminding these people to pay those invoices. And by the time the suppliers' bills would come, that would create a cash crunch in these businesses, and they would shut down over it. And so when you automate that through text and email and phone calls and all kinds of things, it was amazing what could be done with such a simple solution. So I grew that to about 1,000 small business customers, and then that got bought by a Canadian payments company. But kind of through that experience, I got an opportunity to understand that while collecting past due invoices is awesome, everybody wants more customers. And so with High Level, we sort of started out with the idea of trying to help those small businesses gain more customers, get more through reviews, through two-way texting, but basically get a high rank on Google, more inbounds, just help them grow their customers.
And how's that process too? Because I think a lot of business owners, when they think of working with business partners, unfortunately, sometimes it doesn't go the right way. Like you mentioned in the first case there.
Yeah.
How was it too at the beginning, having partners and everyone being on the same page to create something?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, I was 18 years old when I got into that partnership, and I didn't have anybody on, like in my family they were very supportive, but they didn't understand all of the rules and ownership and what that means. And again, when you're a minority owner, you're not in control. That's the most important thing. It's 51% or bust. And if you don't have that, if you don't have some other way of holding up what you believe are the rights that are due you, you're gonna get crushed. So that's what happened to me. And so it's a matter of either. So in what I learned from all of that is in my second venture, I was gonna be 51% at least. So I think that's what I took away from that. So it's really either understanding, and honestly, I also, having been on the other side of that, I also put a structure in place for my partners so that they knew what getting out looked like for them on the day that they started, because I sort of respected the fact that I'd been in their shoes, and there are going to be times when it's not like you're angry or upset necessarily, maybe you just want to go do something else or who knows what, right? And so being able to tell people up front what their options are later on, I think is super the right thing to do. And so I just made sure I did that for my partners as well.
So when you're doing that at the beginning, I think a lot of people nowadays, like, they see success, based on where it's at now, but people forget about like the problems that people have at the beginning. Talk to me through that at the beginning stages of Go High Level. Was there any complications or anything like that?
Our first version of High Level was a failure. That was a big problem.
Oh, really?
That was a big complication. Well, we were small. We were originally trying to sell directly to small businesses, and while they loved the product in the demo, they didn't have a lot of time or expertise, and I would say it's more time, because small business owners are incredibly smart people. But when every single day you're going out, like putting a roof on a house or drilling someone's teeth, and that's how you're making money, going out and learning software, even if it's going to help you, that's just time you just feel like you can't afford to take, right? And so for us, when we were initially selling to those small businesses, they would say, "Oh yeah, I love the software, that's great, take my money," and then 2 weeks later they called it cancel. And it was always like, "Well, what's up?" And it was always like, "Oh, we just don't have the time." And it was like, "Well, don't you understand this is going to get you more reviews, or this is going to allow you to talk to more customers in a scalable way?" And they'd be like, "Oh yeah, we totally buy off on that, but we just don't have time." And so lucky for us, my original co-founder and I, Varun, we got a phone call from a marketing agency that was actually helping another customer that we'd sort of had in common. And really long-term, what this person did, who's now our third co-founder, by the way, Rob and Alex, is clue us into the fact that behind the scenes, you have a lot of these people who are helping these small businesses actually put this technology in place. And those are the people that we focused on. So we stopped selling to small businesses altogether, and we started working with marketing agencies, because we found, sure enough, they're the people that make a lot of these technology decisions. They're the people actually who make a lot of these small businesses very successful. And so we really focused our energies on helping educate them and building a product around what they needed. And it was a totally underserved market at the time.
So once you found the kind of the tweak in that, you fine-tuned it, you fixed it, and then you shifted it to the agency rather than the business owner. At what point did it start to really kind of like propel, and how did it propel? Because you can have the solution, right? But like how you actually...
So I would say that's the biggest learning. So I'm a software engineer, and so I always grew up believing like, you just write the code, you create the product, and it just magically sells itself. But it turns out, sadly, that's not the case. For us, I give all the credit to Robin. We would not be here without him, and I think Varun, my co-founder, if we were here, would agree wholeheartedly. He had spent 10 years prior building an agency, and he was super techie and nerdy like us, which was awesome. But early on, he had actually started as an IT guy, and then people were like, "Oh, thanks for fixing my network. By the way, can you help me with this website thing?" And then sort of evolved him into an agency. But he's also a super personable guy. He had a lot of connections, and it also turns out that the marketing agency world's very collegiate. So they were talking online, and they were willing to share with each other because they didn't see each other as a competitor. So once Robin looked at the product, he's like, "Oh, can I buy this for all 80 of my customers?" And I was like, "Sure," and that was cool. He also had a lot of ideas on how to fix it or make it better or add features, which we loved, Varun and I, because we're like, "Yeah, we can program all day long." So we did that, and then he had 10 people that he knew that were kind of heavy hitters and said, "Hey, can we have them try it out?" And then one of those guys was having a mastermind, which I had no idea what that was at the time. And we went out to San Diego. His name's Rob Bailey. And he put us up for like 20 minutes and took a big risk on us. And then everybody in the room basically loved it, bought the product, and it just sort of kind of scaled from there or snowballed from there. But it was all about word of mouth, and it really has stayed that way, to be honest, since that time.
And how has the marketing strategies adapted and changed from there to now, especially with everything with social media and Google and all that?
Good question. So I think one of our specialties is that we know our strengths, but more importantly, we know our weaknesses. And I think a lot of times when people talk about strengths and weaknesses, they think, "Oh, I got to get better at that weakness." We take a different track. We're like, we want to stay terrible at that thing. And instead of trying to get better at something and try to be great at all things, go out and find people who are awesome at it. So sales and marketing, not our deal. So what we do is we go find the people who are awesome at sales and marketing. And really the way that looks in our world is coaches or educators or podcasters, people who are, again, we're building tools, right? So we're building hammers and saws and nail guns and things. But if you don't know what to do with those things, if you don't have the education, the strategy, all of that, you can't just give that to a person and expect them to go build a house, right? You need to have someone who understands how to build a house with those tools. So we partner with the people who have that strategy, and we enable them with the tools, and they put it together, and they're the ones who actually are out there doing the marketing and actually doing the sales at the end of the day.
Wow. And in terms of, I guess, structuring a business with over 2,000 employees, correct? Yeah. How can you create something so effective and so organized? That's not an easy thing to do.
Well, yeah. So don't ask me about managing people. I'm terrible at it. So again, knowing your weakness, having amazing people around you is really, really important. But I also think, it's been an incremental journey, right? So it's easy now to say, oh, we've got 2,000 employees and 3 million customers and all that, but it's been a very incremental journey. So it's funny, I can still remember when we hired our first six-figure, whatever, $100,000 a year employee, and I remember thinking, oh my God, that's insane. Like, I can't imagine ever paying somebody that. And yet it's funny today, he's got to be one of our most valuable players, and he has been throughout. And it's just good examples of like where in the moment it seems so painful, but in the long term it's like part of how you got there. So it's a very incremental journey to get from two guys in their bedroom to where we are today. So you learn as you go, and you make a lot of mistakes. You hire people that end up being bad choices, and some of those people you're smart, you get rid of quickly. Some of those people last for 6 months before you realize like, oh, we got a big problem here. So it's a journey.
That's amazing. So another question. So as you're building Go High Level and you're structuring it and it's scaling, at what point do you feel like, as an entrepreneur, as one of the founders, do you ever feel like you're overwhelmed? Or maybe you feel like you bit too much of the apple per se? Is it kind of
yeah, all the time.
How do you handle that type of stress?
Well, I have two great co-founders. So since the beginning, it's like I built my last business by myself, and it was a very lonely journey. Because you are going to have terrible days, and you're going to have terrible days at every point along the journey, and having two amazing people to like lean back on and be like, man, today sucks, and for them to be like, yeah, it does suck. Like it's a catharsis, right? And I don't think you can remove that stress, and you have to at some point overcome it and recognize a mistake. But the nice thing is, if you see those mistakes as like learning opportunities, you also don't really think like, oh man, I'm a big loser. You're like, well, of course you're gonna make mistakes. Like, you've never done this before, right? You're learning. And so I think it's just important to always keep that mindset that way. And so while it is stressful, you have some people, and these days, I have a great organization of all kinds of other people too who are running into these challenges in their own areas. And so we all just support each other. And we're really fortunate. We have customers. So our product is really built by our customers. So we don't sit around every day and say like, oh, well, we think it should be like this, or we think it should be like that. We have a public ideas list for our customers. They vote in what features they want.
Wow.
And based on votes, our entire product management team, our engineering team, so about 500 of those people, they literally go to that ideas list and pull the thing with the top vote, and that's what they build next. And so for us, our customers are really also kind of part of the journey. So they're also kind of part of when we get into these like stressful situations or whatever, they also are very helpful in helping us get out of them.
It's really interesting. Whenever I have guests on, a lot of them have sold their companies, all that good stuff.
Sure.
And business comes in different. It's the same sectors, right? It's just your sales, marketing, quality control, production, etc.
Yeah.
And it always comes down to, in my opinion, as an entrepreneur, the mindset, right?
Yeah.
So would you say, like you, Shaun, as a person, you're competitive, you always want to win, and that's the drive that's kept you to keep pushing Go High Level to?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I've always wanted to help my customer win. So like from the very beginning, when we made that switch to the agencies and we understood they were really the people, like we really wanted to help the small business. And when we saw the agencies were really the people doing that work and like getting that last mile done on behalf of the small business, we knew that our mission then was to support those people. Because if we really truly cared about the small business, we really wanted to commit to the best solution. And so like if a small business owner came to me today and like, hey, I want to do marketing, and what would I do? How should I do it? I would say go find a great agency, like ask for references and do your due diligence. But at the end of the day, like you really ought to be the best roofer, dentist, plumber, like that you are or should be. and treating marketing like a side gig, that's just like that's no different than treating your accounting as a side gig. I mean, sure, you can file your own taxes, but when you get audited that first time, you're going to learn that you should have paid the extra money for the accountant, right?
Yeah.
Same thing on marketing. And so for us, really wanted to focus on those people, and we knew that if they were successful, we would do fine. And so for me, every day I'm passionate about getting up and saying like, how are we still not doing for those people, or how do we make them even more successful? Because if we make them successful, the small businesses that are working with them are going to be successful, and everyone's winning in that equation, right? And I love small businesses. I'm passionate about them. I think they make a huge difference in their communities. Statistics are, they're just more innovative. They pay better on average. Like they live in a community. They think about their community. They care about their community, and so I think they treat their community very well. Versus larger companies, it tends to be like, how do I not change? Because like I already own the top of the hill, so my mission is just to stay up here. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to innovate. I don't want to try something new. Small business owners, totally different perspective, and so I think it's very important to continue to grow and sustain that community.
So at the beginning, and even to now, when you're kind of doing that work-life balance, you mentioned you have kids, correct?
Yeah, I have one kid, 13-year-old boy.
Would you say there's a balance in this type of stuff, or would you say like, hey, at the beginning, like I had to sacrifice a lot, I was all in on this, or?
Yeah, for sure. In fact, I think I made a lot of life choices around delaying having children, delaying getting married, delaying dating at all, just to build businesses. But I would say, I hate to talk about balance because I don't think I'm very good at it.
I don't think it's really true. I don't think you can.
Yeah,
balance things.
there's pluses and minuses. I mean, and I sort of think about their like seasons to life. I will say having my son was the greatest thing I ever did because it's what really inspired me to create this business. Because I realized that I was going to have to tell him someday like, go for your dreams, like do all the things you want to do. But in that moment, I wasn't living that truth, and ultimately, I was like, how can I tell him someday to do this if I don't have the guts to do it myself? So for me, it was very foundational and a huge change. And I built my first business with him strapped to my chest, bouncing on a little ball to get him to go to sleep while I'm coding stuff up. So he was a big part of that. And I don't think I would have ever done it were it not for him. He really gave me that strength. So to the extent that I think those things, while they may pull some time away, they can be great inspirations as well. And then, as kids get older, they have their own things that they do. So, in some cases you spend more time, in some cases they start to get a little more independent too. And they're like, it's cool if you don't show up to that game or that practice or that whatever. And so, things change.
Absolutely. And where do you see Go High Level going in the next 5 to 10 years? Especially too, is with AI coming in, would you say, is that a benefit or a threat?
A huge benefit, yeah. I mean, because we have AI now in every aspect of the platform, and it really enables people now to accelerate what they're doing. So the way I sort of think about it, like my very first business was an answering service, and now you used to need hundreds of people to do that. Now we have inbound voice AI. So now voice AI will pick up the call. And is it as good as a human? No, but it's a tenth the price. And if you tell the plumber like, no, look, you still get first shot at it, man. Like we're gonna ring your phone 3 times, and if you don't pick up, we're gonna roll to the AI. They're like, okay, that's great. I'll try that for 1/10 the price. And the amazing thing is people don't really care if they're talking to a person or AI. They just want the job done. They want to like get the schedule. And if the AI can do it, it's amazing. It's fantastic. And you cascade that through everything. Writing blogs, making social media posts, like chat responses over SMS, over Messenger, over WhatsApp, over your website chat widget, whatever it is, automatically responding to reviews that you get. Because, great marketers would say, well, 5-star review or 1-star review, like you want to be responding to those reviews, right? And Google's going to look at that information, and they're going to look at businesses who respond to the reviews. They're going to say, hey, that business is better than one that doesn't. Well, we don't always have time to do all these things, but now you can use AI for that. So we infuse AI everywhere. And what it's helping our marketers do is really scale. Because before they used to run into the situation like, well, I'm doing a great job and I know all the things, but now I'm overwhelmed because I have too many clients. Now what? And it used to be like, okay, you got to go hire a team of VAs or whatever it might be. Now they can bring AI in and they can start creating agents, because we now have a full agentic builder in our system. And this is kind of where marketers, again, will lead the way. So you're not going to create an AI agent if you're a plumber, because what the heck does that even mean? Let alone, man, that's hard. But the marketing agencies are doing it, and now they're able to create those agents that replace a lot of those marketing tasks or even some of those business tasks, and then they can scale those across their operation. It's pretty cool.
I know a lot of people in the home service industry use Go High Level. So I wanted to kind of flip the switch real quick on you. So if you, for example, running your own roofing company, for the first time.
Yeah.
How would you run it? How would you incorporate Go High Level?
Sure.
And what would you do to really scale it?
Yeah, so I think the most important thing, people sort of misconstrue, like, so High Level has, let's say, 1,000 features, right? The most important thing is you just start with one. And really it's about the thing that you think you can get yourself to value to. And as much as the world changes, it stays the same. So like reviews, the most important thing. So like, I'll just be like, hey, listen, you're gonna go do a job today. Like you'll figure it out. Like you'll find a friend, you'll get a recommendation, who knows what. But as soon as that's done, you need to be asking that person for a review, and you need to make it super easy. You don't like no gating, any of that stuff. You just say, hey, listen, we'd love to know how we did. Here's a link to Google. Please leave us a review. And right there, most people, I'm telling you, if they hate you, they don't need your link to go and burn you. If they're on the fence about it, they need some prompting. If they loved you, they also need some prompting, because people who have the most amazing experience at whatever, they don't just automatically review you. But if you just ask them, they will, and bam, 5-star reviews go up. And what happens? Everything positive happens. Google likes you better, consumers like you better, you get ranked higher. That's it. You start with something really, really simple. And the biggest thing is always speed to lead. So invariably people are marketing, they're bringing leads into the system. And I always just say, look, lead comes in 2 a.m. on a Christmas morning, like, are you able to book that appointment? And most people can't. And they can't just do it on 2 a.m. at a Christmas morning. They're not going to do it after or at 5:01 on an average Tuesday. So if you automate that flow so that you're booking all those appointments through SMS is awesome for this. Man, you just take a huge burden off of you. And the number one thing most people do is when you need a service provider, you're just going to look up those service providers. You're going to start calling or start contacting. And the one that gets back to you first almost always gets that business because they don't have time to learn about all of your services. They don't have to learn about your history. They don't really care. Their need is very like, I need it now. And the person who is the most attentive, human beings, we're just like that. When people pay attention to us, we like them more, right? And so if you have a system that pays attention to me very quickly, gets me to that where I need to be, like gives me the quote, gets me booked for an estimate, whatever that next step is, you're probably gonna get the business.
So we talked about speed, which I'm a big fan of that too, because I think speed is essence in business.
Yep.
And the CEO of Lamborghini, his name's Stefan, he said the speed is either the life or death of a deal being made. How important is speed for you guys in terms of sales and like the way you handle your stuff internally? Sure. In terms of
yeah. So I think one thing we're known for is we release our mission in life, right, is serving our customer, and our customer is I think of them as every day out on the street, seeing what's working, seeing what's changing, and then coming back and saying, all right, this new thing came out for Instagram, where you can automatically respond to DMs. You guys got that? And our mission is like, boom, we got to get that out quick. So we only plan a quarter in advance, and every single day we have a release coming out. So every single day I wake up, one of my biggest jobs is to look at the Slack channel for release notes and get a video out as fast as possible telling people what we got released, because it's absolutely that way. Because in the real world, like you said, it's all about speed. These people are trying to deliver solutions to their customers, and our mission is to make sure that to the extent they need software or technology or AI for that, we're that provider.
Do you think, I know we talked about it too prior, but do you think there's going to be a shift where people are moving from Google more into ChatGPT or?
Well, I think the war is on. I mean, Google is are smart folks, right? Yeah. I definitely think ChatGPT is going to give them a run for their money, but I also think Google's AI is really good. I think AI as a topical method to achieve things will become a dominant paradigm. Who you buy it from and who you get it from, that's yet to be seen. I think Google, I don't think ChatGPT has won that battle yet, but I definitely think they're a player. But that just makes, it's just kind of like, I think of it like social media. You know, where was TikTok? You know, before TikTok appeared, and then all of a sudden TikTok was huge. And what do you got to do? You got to deal with that. So you need to be present in all those modalities. So you're going to have to be present in ChatGPT. You're going to have to be present in Google AI. But that I definitely think that's how people will try to discover and research and run down that next, even that next plumbing job, right? I remember when there were some marketers who said, TikTok is just crushing it for plumbers. And I was like, what are you talking about? People just like doing dances on that. And they're like, that's the point. You wouldn't think, but turns out because people are ignoring that channel, I'm going in there and I looked at the results and I was blown away because it was just it was a channel people were not using. They were there, they were in there, and and you could advertise them for almost nothing. Yeah. And because of that, the day that they needed that plumbing thing, again, top of mind, right there next to the dude doing the funny dance, there's that plumber ad, right? They were doing a great job. So again, you have to be everywhere, and AI is a big part of that.
So if you had a home service business, we spoke about how in Houston, for example, it used to be primarily insurance.
Sure.
And then the insurance market's been kind of going downhill from that. So a lot of people have been actually shutting down.
Sure.
If you had a business, a roofing business, and you were specifically focused on the retail, I know we talked about how door-to-door is dying down. How would you implement your marketing strategies? What would you focus on?
Oh, I mean, it's all online, right? I mean, at some point, running an ad on again, what the ad looks like and all of that. Talk to someone more creative. That's not me, but I would have first I would start with Google Ads because it's such high intent.
Pay per click or LSA?
Both.
Okay.
Is the reality, and to be fair, you need to run experiments across every single channel, right? You need to be in Facebook, you need to be in TikTok, right? You need to be in Instagram. And then from there, what's so important is that as soon as that lead gets captured, there's an automated flow behind it that's getting to me in 30 seconds or less and getting that person to take the next step. That is the most critical, and 24/7, 365. Like, that is the most critical section. We call that, so capture, nurture, close. It's like the capture step, everyone has that. In fact, most of the social networks like force it on you, like Facebook lead ads, like that's a capture step, right? Mm-hmm. That's not where people lose. People lose on the nurture step. They don't follow up with you instantaneously. And what you have to realize is, like, when you get that lead, that's when the customer is ready to go. They're the one, they've just told you that by submitting your ad, right? And if your failure to get back to me in my moment of need is the failure of you to capture my business.
And that's when you guys come in to actually
100%.
help. Wow. So then from now, with AI coming in and then go high level, obviously using it for its benefit.
Yeah.
In 10 years from now, where do you think things are going to be?
Man, that's a long. I have no clue. That's a long time away. But I do think that it just makes the if you look at the current impact today, it just makes so before it used to be like this. You would fill out the Facebook ad. We'd be like, hey, thanks for filling it out. Would you like to book an appointment? And most of the time people would say yes. But then invariably some people would ask a question like, oh, would you guys carry this, or how much is that, or blah, 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 blah. And the system at that point, that's when you kind of freeze up. But AI changes that game because now AI can give much better answers. And when you have it paired with something like high level, so think about AI external to what I call a system of record, but like external to a CRM, it only has access to general information. But if you have AI, let's say like in high level, it can look across your whole business, right? All the invoices you put out, all the conversations you had with your customer, it knows a lot about your business. So now that response back to that customer who's asking that question, incredibly deep, incredibly spot on, paired to what you would otherwise say. So what I think it's already doing is giving back amazingly rich responses that then just take that person farther down the funnel and basically make it, oh, you do have that? Oh, great, that is a price I'll pay, whatever. Bam, now I'm booking that appointment. So it's already making a huge impact in basically just driving up the conversion rates on those leads as they come in.
So, okay, as you see the industry changing as well with entrepreneurs, AI is a perfect example as well, right? So AI is coming in, people are getting scared, they're getting afraid. Some people are using it to their advantage, and they're able to propel that. For an upcoming entrepreneur, what are some advice or tips that you would give them to focus on? Like, would you say get into coding or look into the trades? Or
so this is the funny thing about it. So I'm a software engineer, and I will tell you, I have changed software languages probably 4 or 5 times in my career. And why did I do that? It's because the new language, it did something automatically for me that I didn't want to do that the old language made me do manually. That's literally the difference. So I've watched the amount of work I had to do go down and down and down. And as a software engineer, I'm like, thank goodness. Because now I get back to the thing I want to do, right? And I think AI is just that same thing. So if you're a brand new person, I would say go hard at AI. But the technology is, and this is, I think, where the big gap is in the market today. We can all see the potential of AI, but when you ask most people how you're translating or using it in their business, they have really bad answers. And it's because the technology, the tool, it's not fundamentally going to by itself fix the problem or make the current situation better. Because what the business process itself, it's the same business process, and it's going to probably stay the same for a long time. AI should make that business process faster, simpler, cheaper. But that's the focus. So as a practitioner, as an entrepreneur, figure out how to take AI and apply it to a real world situation to make that business owner's life easier. You do that one thing, that's where the money is. I mean, when you can say, hey, I can take your existing leads coming in every day and I will give you double the number of customers you're getting from those leads for $100 a month or $300 a month. Almost any business owner would be like, sold, take my money, right? And you're not saying go buy some more ads. You're not saying spend more money on newspaper ads or Google ads or Facebook ads or anything else. It's like, no. Your current phone calls you're getting today, in fact, the phone calls you're missing today, I'm just going to turn those into customers for you. How's that sound? You know? And most business owners, they have no idea. They miss calls all the time, right? Or they're like, oh, well, yeah, I miss them, but I call them back later. And they say, oh, you do? Well, how's that all work out for you? And most of the time, if they're being honest, they'll be like, yeah, they already went with somebody else, or, they forgot about me. They don't know who I am. They didn't pick up my call. Who knows, right? You need to get to that customer in the minute, but that's how AI can help you. And as an entrepreneur, that's a great example of where you could take that technology and apply it to a real world situation and turn it into value for the small business, and they're going to pay you for that.
And would you say the onboarding process for someone trying to get into Go High Level is pretty simple?
Well,
for them?
I mean, we do live Zoom calls for all of our customers one-on-one. So one-on-one Zoom call setups, and then ongoing support's all done on Zoom as well. So I don't know how much better you can get.
In terms of track record too, or case studies, I know you mentioned the HVAC guy too.
Sure.
So let's say I'm doing $1 million.
Yeah.
Partner with Go High Level.
Sure.
What would be my return?
Oh, I mean, as a single owner business, you're paying me $97 a month, and we don't charge per user or per contact or anything like that. So all you have to do to be happy with me is make more than $97 a month. So that, for most HVAC companies, right? And I always tell people this: that's one customer, right? Like if you can take one missed call, one website visitor. Because a lot of times, you go to these websites, they're beautiful, these guys pay tons of money. It's the about us, and it's the history, and it's this and that, and it's warm and fuzzy for them, but guess what? Nobody cares. I'm not there to learn about your history. I need something from you right now. And so you put that chat widget in the bottom right-hand corner, and I'm going to it. And if it's, because I don't want to fill out that form, right? That form just goes into some guy's inbox. They can check it, hopefully, maybe not. But if I can go to that chat widget, have a real conversation, and get to some outcome that I'm looking for, wow, that's incredibly valuable. And as an entrepreneur or a business owner, if you put that on your website, you'd be shocked how many people come to your site every day. They look around and like, this is cool, but I'm confused. Like, where do I go? I have a need, right? But you go to that chat widget, you'd say, hey, I need you to come out and do this. And bam, if it can walk me through getting that scheduled and getting that, getting that price, that's real money you're making.
Absolutely, I love that. So with private equity as well, I know we spoke about that a little bit, how private equity is looking at the home service space. Talk to me a little bit about that with your opinion in private equity.
Oh yeah, well, I know a lot of big heavy hitter private equity guys, and they're in a tough position. We are living in a world where historically the tech market has been big for them because they could come in, they could buy that tech company, and then remember, private equity's biggest thing is we're going to buy, we're going to hold for 3 to 5 years, and then we're flipping. Private equity does not buy and hold, right? In tech, it was easy. I'm going to buy a company and take a risk early on that really needs to probably either go public or probably should be bought by some other competitor. But if that competitor were to look at that business today, they'd be like, I don't know, I'm not sure. So I'm going to buy it right now, take that risk, and then 5 years from now, I'm going to sell it to that competitor, right? It was a very natural cycle. And in the meantime, there's a lot of money coming in from the market to support those tech companies as they grew, particularly most of them were unprofitable, all that stuff. So that was what was going on. But as the money dried up, now all of a sudden, those private equity companies are having a lot of trouble because they can't sell to anybody, so they're not able to give money back to their LPs who fund their businesses. So they're looking for a different model. And home services, great businesses, these guys never have to give a discount. They always get paid. They're a really great business to own. They're very durable. They last for a long time, and they're not very flashy, but they're very profitable. And so you have a lot of private equity now coming in and saying, well, what if we roll a lot of this up? And so there's a lot of buying going on in that market. But I think what's still to be understood is in the private equity world, what's the outcome for them? Who are they going to ultimately flip to? Because you don't have that same dynamic in the home services space as you do in the technology space, with really big companies on the other side who might want those assets.
So for someone as well that has you guys have over 3 million users, 2,000 employees, you, Shaun, as a person, how's your routine or your discipline too, like day to day? Take me through an average day.
Well, it's super boring.
Boring's good though.
No. So it all again, things change over time, right? Yeah. But we have built this business because we have amazing customers, and what we have done well, and I would say better than our competitor, is just care about our customers. And what does that mean? It means being in the trenches every single day, talking to those customers, figuring out what we need to do to help them be successful. That's always our attitude. And so every single day, that's still my mission. And today I can say, well, we have an awesome support team. We have an awesome onboarding team. We have an awesome product team. We have an awesome dev team. We have an amazing team every day coming to work, running a process to try to help those customers. But in every great process, there's always going to be improvements. There's going to also be holes. And so my job is to stay on like a cop on the beat. Like I'm just looking for, any kind of smoke out there, because smoke becomes fire, right? So I'm looking for where is it that a customer is in pain of some kind and my team isn't seeing that fast enough and isn't helping that person. And then first and foremost, I'm just connecting them. Hey, customer in pain, here's that person you need, boom, let's get you a solution right now, right? Then I'm going back in and saying like, okay, now how do we get to this place so that the next person doesn't end up with that same difficulty, right? And then I'm also talking to my customers, and because they've built our entire business. So you could pick any feature and I guarantee you, our customers have told us about that feature. They've told us how that feature should be built. They've told us why the current existing ones don't work, on and on. So then I'm always looking for, where's that trend we're missing? Where's that feature we're missing? Like how, and we have lots of cool things there. We have like all the product teams do live town halls every single day. You can get like, let's say you think social media posting needs something. You can get on and they'll say, here's our current roadmap. Here's what we're thinking about for next quarter. What do you guys think? And if you show up on that call, you just tell them what you think. And they take that advice and they use it to build the product, make it better. But maybe they missed something. My job is to find that thing. So my whole world is I try to live in the moment. I'm on Facebook a lot. I'm on Facebook Messenger a lot. I'm on Zoom a lot.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. Talking to anybody who wants to talk to me, I have a booking link. If you want to book a call with me, I don't care who you are, why you want to, you may not like what I have to say, but I'll talk to anybody. Because what I find is, even people who book on my, I'll get a salesperson or something.
Yeah.
I'll just maybe I don't want to buy what they have to sell, but I'm going to ask them a lot of questions, right? And it's amazing how much you can learn when you just kind of open that way. So I at this point live very much in the moment.
Or maybe have them work for you.
Who knows? If they're a great salesperson, I would say, heck yeah, come on down.
Okay, so in terms of high performance, what do you do to keep yourself performing at a high level in terms of health and wellness? Is there anything specific that you take serious? Because I think as well, business is a reflection of so many variables as a person.
Sure.
And I think your health and wellness and your mindset is very important to perform at a high level.
Sure. Yeah, I think mindset is the most important for me. I certainly get on my share of fitness kicks, but and I think fitness is important. But I also think it's always just trying to be learning. It's always just trying to be immersed in what you're doing. It is also about trying to stay on top of macro trends. I think, and even if you don't fundamentally understand how they might impact you in that moment, just understanding them in general, like the private equity, thing about buying, home services businesses, that has nothing to do with me theoretically, but I find it fascinating. And I think as a macro trend, it's very interesting. And I think trying to consistently learn about the things that may at some point become a big part of your world, right? Like AI, right? So there was a point where AI, people are like, how is that going to impact me? Well, if you knew about it early, you could sort of see how that might impact you. And if you've thought about it and you've tried to put it into your business, now you'll know. So, those things are really important. I think all of us need to stay up on those macro trends to some extent.
I love that.
Yeah.
So aside from Go High Level, you, Shaun, as a father, entrepreneur, what's your kind of your goal in 5 years, 10 years?
Oh gosh, I don't really. I think the way I sort of think about it is like, well, if I wasn't doing this, what else would I be doing? And the answer is nothing. I mean, I really love what I do every day, and this is like people are like, oh, are you gonna sell out or this or that? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm sure I'd be like pumped for like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. I'd probably go on some crazy vacation or something. But then eventually, I just think I get bored, and I would rather. I just love what we're doing, and I've always been a software geek. I'm still a software geek. I love the power of technology to create change in the real world. I still love small businesses, and I think they are the future. I mean, I think every amazing innovation starts as a small business. I don't care if it's a cell phone or an electric car or going to the moon. I mean, all of these things start as small businesses, as ideas people put down and say are stupid, and everything now we take for granted at some point was somebody's crazy idea, right? So. I love that, and I think if I can be part of somebody else's story doing that and enable them to be successful, that's an incredibly honorable thing to do. And so, what else would I be doing? I want to do that.
Did you have a mentor? Or do you have a mentor as well that helped you through the trajectory of stuff?
I mean, not directly. I'm a big Warren Buffett fan, and I've gone to see Berkshire Hathaway like 8, maybe 9 years in a row now. And it's funny, Warren is sort of seen as like an amazing investor. He no doubt is, but I never go for the investment advice. I go for the life advice. He gives out some of the most incredible life advice I've ever heard, and it's almost always the same every year. But it's almost like watching the same movie again and picking up on different things.
What's his life advice?
Well, I mean, when you see somebody who is so incredibly wealthy, and then you look at his life habits, they really, so like, he drives the same car every day. The only time he's ever gotten a new car is when his kids sold his previous car and gave him a new car. It's not fancy. He lives in Omaha, Nebraska. Omaha's an amazing place, but I don't think it's on anybody's hot list of where to go this year. He's lived in the same house for a very long time. In fact, he only owns one house. Like, it's just, he eats at McDonald's every morning. Like, I just love the fact that he shows that you don't have to be, some, like super spender, his suits are nice, but no one's going to say, no one's going to be like, oh man, that's the most amazing new fashion from Milan. It's just, you can be boring and consistent, achieves amazing results over a lifetime, way more than like trying to shoot the moon or do something crazy, and it doesn't get a lot of credit. I think the guys who go out and try to make a big splash, they get a lot more attention. But if you look at real results over time, people who have roots, people who stay true to what they are, what they believe in, people who stay on the same game for a very long time, there's a lot of things like Warren, people always ask like, why didn't you invest in TikTok? Or why didn't you invest in this? Why didn't you invest in that? And he would say, well, actually, that might have been an amazing investment, but actually, I don't feel like I know enough to make that decision. I feel really good. Here's my sphere of expertise, and I stay within that sphere of expertise. And this is, and so those types of things are pretty amazing to hear from somebody who's so wealthy. It shows you don't also have to be the smartest guy in the room to fundamentally do really great, right? I mean, he missed out on every great tech investment of all time, and yet, they have the largest cash pile of any publicly traded company in history at this point. And so it's a cool, it just reinforces that, you can have some really good values and you can do quite well.
I've noticed that as well. A lot of the really successful entrepreneurs, business owners that I know have an amazing amount of humility.
Yeah.
And they're just so down to earth and very friendly, respectful people.
100%.
And they're very simple people, which I
agree.
Which I love.
I agree.
And the only thing I'll see is like they'll have like their nice watch or something
sure.
like that. But that's about it though, right?
Yeah,
Like,
everybody has their thing, and I think that's okay. That's great. You should celebrate that. But they don't have 100 great things.
Exactly.
And I think it shows that no matter how much money you have, complexity creates friction. And the more things you have to manage, the more houses you have to manage, the more, it doesn't matter how much money you have, it takes work, right? You have 10 houses, that's, cleaning and upkeep and paint jobs and on this, and somebody has to deal with all of that, right? And and so fundamentally that's all complexity, and that keeps you from focusing on the thing that you are building and you are good at as you run around. And then it also, if you get into something that moves around a lot like cars, I mean, oh my goodness, imagine, oh, that car's not cool anymore, got to get a new one. What's the new one? What's the new color? What's the new brand? What's the new whatever? That's complexity, right? And so fundamentally, if you don't get into that lane, you don't have to deal with that complexity in your life. It's not a big deal for you.
Last question. One of my last two questions, actually. How and I like to ask this to everyone.
Sure.
How important is it to have a partner, or the significance of having a partner, through the trajectory of an entrepreneur?
You mean like a life partner?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, who you decide to marry, I think has one of the largest impacts on you by a long shot. Because I think that, fundamentally in your worst moments, and your best moments, and your craziest moments, they're going to be there. And what they say to you, and whether they support you, or whether they undermine you, I think has a lot to do with how you're going to feel about yourself. Because fundamentally, we're all vulnerable in our moments, and and we all feel lost in our moments. We all make mistakes. We all feel like we're like doing something really stupid, and having someone in your corner who's there to support you through that, just so critical.
I agree. It's always interesting. I always get the same response.
Yeah, I mean, my co-founder Varun, at every event, he goes out of his way to thank his wife and mine, because for a year or something, they were both paying the bills for our household, and we wouldn't be here without them, right?
Wow.
So yeah, my wife, when I was sitting in a basement with no income, programming stuff out. she was going to work, and she was working at a place she didn't like at the time. And my wife has a lot of really great marketable skills. I mean, she's a CPA. She has a lot of experience. She worked for big four accounting firm. Like, she could have been doing many things, but she chose to sit in a place she felt was more stable for our family to support me. And that's incredible. I never asked her to do that, but she just did it. And that was her way of supporting me through it. So, I mean, how could you ask for something better? But also at the same time, like, it enabled me to be successful. Like, otherwise I would have had to go get a job, and I don't think I'd be here.
Do you think now today too, thinking back on that moment when you were in the basement and going through all that stuff, do you still feel like you still have that drive that you had back then to keep pushing and keep moving forward?
I mean, I'm never changed. I mean, everybody's different, but I just come wired one way, and so, you know, I love, and I don't know, it's like, I mean, I'm fortunate because I would say that, you know, I really, at the heart of things, I really like what I do. I do think there's some cause to say, like, there's always euphemisms that people throw around, like, oh, you know, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's sort of nonsense. And I think there are people who should start businesses that they don't necessarily love because they're really good financially, and maybe they get their joy elsewhere. I'm not down on any of that. I'm just lucky that I like programming computers, and I still get to be involved with that because it enables me to help the people I want to help. So I feel really fortunate in that.
So if you were to, before we close out, if you were to give a young entrepreneur 3 tips, business advice or life advice.
3, wow, okay.
We'll cram it in 3. what would you,
I just think 3 is a lot. Well, I mean, I would say, looking back on my own experience, so I always thought that, like, I needed a mentor to show me the path because I didn't have any entrepreneurs in my family. I think that's total nonsense. If I made any mistakes, I didn't get started fast enough. I didn't go out in the world soon enough. And I think what kept me from doing that is feeling like I was going to make mistakes, and if only I had this great advice from some magical person that I would do better. That's nonsense. You're going to make a ton of mistakes. The faster you can get through those mistakes, and by the way, you'll make mistakes forever. But I mean, the sooner you get out there, the better. And it doesn't matter if, like, your first idea is like an absolute failure. That's okay. Like, get started as soon as possible. Do not believe that there's some magic silver bullet out there for you to find. I've had the fortune of knowing lots of really good, successful business people at all kinds of levels. And a lot of the time, the tricky thing is that the business they have is certainly amazing. But if you think, okay, could I start that again today? The answer is often no, because there was an opportunity in that moment that then enabled them to become successful. Oh gosh, who's the guy from Shark Tank?
Mark Cuban?
No, the original, the TV guy. He's actually one of our speakers.
Kevin O'Leary?
Yes, thank you. Oh, no, not Kevin O'Leary. Sorry. It's anyways, somebody will know and look it up. But basically, he was the as seen on TV guy. And what he did is he was living in Florida, and this was back in the 80s, and he would notice that lots of the his TV stations, he bought a cable package, and I think they were like, you get 30 channels. And then he noticed, like, 2 of his channels would, like, go blank, like at noon, and then they wouldn't pick up to the next day. And he's like, I'm paying for 30 channels, man. Why am I getting 28?
Yeah.
And they were like, sorry, sir, they don't have any programming. And he's like, I wonder if what I could do with that. And that's where he figured out, oh wait, I could sell something in that remnant space, right? And it turned out that was available nationwide at the time, and there were all these little owners of TV stations, so he could buy all that space cheaply at big scale, and then he's Mr. As Seen on TV, and he's a multimillionaire for it, right? He's an amazing business person to know. That's a phenomenal story, right? But you could never do that today. So as an entrepreneur, like, I could introduce you to that guy. He could tell you that story. You could be inspired by it. And I think what's to learn, right, is you look for opportunity. But get out there and just get started, because that opportunity, even knowing that, even having that guy, if he became your mentor, he couldn't even show you how to reproduce that business, because even he's moved on from that business. So point being is that don't wait around for some magic bullet or secret sauce or super mentor to help you get started. Just get out there and start running plays, get a hit on the field, get up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward.
I love it, brother. Thank you so much for coming,
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, everybody.